I'm Sreekala, and with me is Sakina. And here, the fabulous guests of the day, Eduardo from Ghana, Laxman Rao sir from India, and one more guest yet to join, a teacher again with a busy schedule. So let's wait and watch who is that. Okay, so let me first introduce you our guest, Eduardo. Eduardo de Bosco is a librarian who writes from somewhere in the world. So that somewhere is Ghana, biologically known as Edward Boteng. He's an honoree of the Gujarat Sahitya Academy Award in collaboration with Motivational Studs for his literary excellence and the Order of Shakespeare Medal. His works have appeared in Spellwords, Praxis Magazine, Evoculus, We Write Liberia, Via Review, Art Launch, Afritondo, and in many anthologies and many other platforms. Eduardo finds his peace in poetry, historiography, advocacy, education, music, and in nature. So, a wonderful person whom we are meeting today and eagerly waiting to listen to your poem.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Welcome, Edward, sir. Thank you for joining.
I hope I am very clear. I hope you're getting me.
Yes.
So
Yes,
I can
yes.
read now or...
Yeah, you can start reading your poem. So we all are eagerly waiting for that.
So I have two poems. I have
Yes.
two poems to read for us today.
Yes.
The first poem is titled Wishes. A poem for those deeply in love. For those deeply in love. And the second poem is titled Images Printed on Our Canvas. It gives the background of Liberia in the war. And the first one is about love and people who want to be in love, to keep themselves forever. So I read the first one. It's about our wishes. Wishes. I want our lives to be a wonderful chronicle, because all you are to me is but a miracle. I want our lives to be void of obstacles, a living rhythm of heavenly canticles. I want our pictures hung up on the pinnacle, so I'll stare at it and write you an article. I want your love. I've consulted the oracle. Give it to me, and I will save it in my receptacle. Sit here with me. Let's ride on this coracle, leading us straight to the end of this chronicle. That is the first poem titled Wishes. A poem for those deeply in love.
That end rhyming, love that end rhyming, first of all, and each and every word, what do you say, the shows that, what do you say, thick love between
the whole mystery of love.
Yes, 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 yes. Truthful words from a truthful person. Wonderful.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you can start with your second.
Yes, you can recite to the second poem.
Okay, you ready for the second poem?
Yes, yes.
So the second poem is titled Images Painted on Our Canvas. Images painted on our canvas. And it's about the history of war, it's about the emotions and the braces that the war leaves back. So I read, on this canvas, we see the pains planted in the crevices of our mind. One, an underage boy with a gun on his shoulders, wearing his mother's fear, learns to grow by painting his childhood with his brother's blood. And like his friends, he is another puppet of the politicians, a dream successfully aborted. Two, because my siblings drowned the sun in my mother's bucket, days passed without the sun, and the dawns were identified with his mother's cry. Another child is dead, our neighbors say. That's how we got accustomed to saying sorry, to saying never mind when someone's loved ones die. We pick our lapa, sit on the mat, and eat our sorrows. Ghost is seen in the bottom of the plates. Our country is the picture of everything evil. The government, homes, schools, and dreams abandoned on the clothesline. But life goes on in everyone's mouth, like the old world jingles planted in our throats. Thank you.
Wow. Lakshman sir, would you love to speak something about his poem?
To be frank, like the recitation was not too much audible for me, very like I could grasp the lines. Okay, but here and there, like I could understand like what he meant about his country and the fellow beings and part of being in his country. So I could grasp that much, but not in detail. If at all, I would have so
The
that would be
problem,
clear.
I think the problem is internet. Internet issues are there from your side, so maybe because of
And
that.
moreover, the recitation it differs. The
Yeah.
accent differs from others to
Yes.
grasp.
Yes.
So
Yes.
even that.
But wonderful lines.
But,
Wonderful lines again.
Yes, a very deep poem about all the pain of living through the war and losing loved ones, and it's the first time in this whole seasons that we had a poem like that recited. So there was a lot of emotions there. Thank you for sharing that.
A unique one.
Yes, yes.
It's a unique one.
Time. Yes.
Yes, we welcome Bijayalakshmi ma'am, who has come out of a busy schedule for us today. Hi, Bijayalakshmi ma'am.
Hi, ma'am. My pleasure.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi. Thank you for the honor and pleasure to be with you all.
It's our pleasure. It's our pleasure, Bijayalakshmi ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Laxman sir is very eagerly waiting.
Hi, ma'am. Good evening.
Yeah.
This is the first time I am seeing you.
Yes,
we all. Only I have met in person Laxman Rao sir.
Yeah.
So
we are
start.
So we have met him. Yeah, you can speak about Laxman Rao sir now.
So Laxman Rao, who has done his MA Literature English, has been poetry for the last 2 decades. Has been a poet who is in constant touch with the world literary forums, actively participating in most of the Facebook poetic groups. He has, in his debut book, The World Within, which is yet to be launched in e-platforms, he is also an entrepreneur who owns his publication house, Wordsmith Publishers, based out of Bangalore, India. So that is Laxman sir's brief bio. And we welcome you to the show, sir.
Thank you,
and looking forward to listening to your recitation.
Okay. So is my voice audible to everyone?
Yes.
Yes,
It is.
Mr. Bangalore, your voice is audible. Only voice.
Yeah, I'm audible, not visible.
Yes.
Okay. As you said, like I'm Mr. India. Okay, today let me be Mr. India. Okay, see, like before I could speak out anything about poetry, read out my poetry, I would like to say that like I have a certain ideology towards my poetry, wherein like I discuss my poetry in terms of all the governments of poetry, political aspects. I bring in most of my poems from the political aspects of my own thinking. So that's my ideology or the pathway through which I progress through my poetry. So that's how I can brief it out. So I'll just start my poetry. It's a sonnet wherein I can title it as When I Do Speak of Poetry. The title of the poem is When I Do Speak of Poetry. When I do speak of poetry and poetics, the poet in me speaks while it's not me. When I do speak of poetry and poetics, the poet in me speaks while it's not me. It's this language of mum mind's innate voice, where his emotions yields to expressions. It's a sees in its eloquence to please, which a reader might reveal as he reads. It's his perspective in its prescience, where concept conceived or carved with essence. It's creative caliber for the craft, where thought shape up in profound purity. It's his wit, worn in verse, his wisdom in what wordings vested as jewel chest. Poetry is the mirage of one's mind. Poetry is the mirage of one's mind. Magic of words, refined and defined. The magic of words, refined and defined. Thank you.
Wonderful poem.
Thanks, ma'am. Thank you.
Short,
Beautiful.
simple, and very impactful.
Beautiful. Yes, beautiful.
Thank you.
That
Most of
reflects perfectly
poems are.
poet's mind.
One person at a time, that would be easy for us to listen.
Yes, sir. Bijayalakshmi ma'am.
Yeah.
Bijayalakshmi, ma'am, you just go on.
No, that's thank you for this beautiful poem. I joined and I'm very much happy to get this. All that's the reflection of poet's mind. What is
Yeah.
works for him, and how the language of mirage of one's mind. That is beautiful. Language is mirage of one's mind. Magic of words. Beautiful concept. Thank you very much for this. I am very happy to hear you.
Thanks, ma'am. That's the reason I just gave a short introduction of my ideology, like what sort of poems.
It just reflects in your poetry perfectly.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Well, ma'am,
book
Sreekala,
is
ma'am,
there.
say something?
Yes, I was just searching for your book, sir. It's there in my book rack, so it's on the top.
Yeah, okay.
I'll just
You
show
kept
you
me on top.
one.
Okay.
Yes, Sakina, would you like to say something?
Am I audible?
Yeah, it's audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I was just saying it was so short, simple, on point, and very impactful and well recited. It was a pleasure listening.
Thanks a lot, ma'am.
And sir tries almost all the kinds of poems, different varieties. And now Gogoika, Sino, it's not that only one kind of poem, but you can say that versatile. That versatility is there in each one of his poems, and each poem makes sense.
Yes,
Will be
we'd love to
unique.
listen to this poem.
Yeah.
So we, as a poet, we shouldn't stuck to one form. That's what I feel.
Yes.
That's what I believe.
Yes. That I believe also. Not
We
to
need
one
to explore
form,
different
not.
forms. We need to explore different forms and thoughts. So wherein like we can explore. To most of myself, like we can discover much of ourselves. That's what I mean.
True.
Yes, Edward. Yes, Edward, sir. Would you like to say something? Mr. Edward?
Oh, the poem, it was very nice.
Thank you.
And simple and not very long, and that is beautiful. I like the form of your poem and the flow of the thoughts.
Yeah, that's what matters. The flow, the rhythm matters a lot. Cool. Thanks for catching hold of. Yeah, that's my book.
You mentioned that
The word with you. That's my book. Yeah. And this poem is an excerpt from that book. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for showing my book.
Yeah.
Lovely,
So this book, why did I show this?
Wow, beautiful.
Even in this book, there are many different kinds of poems where people can, the newcomers, they can learn the different variety, like sonnet, ghazals, everything is there. So I just recommend you people to have a look in this book, and you will learn many things which you may not be knowing. So once again, I'm showing this book.
Wonderful.
Yes, sir. Your next poem, we are waiting for that.
So would like me to recite my second poem?
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Well then, well then. Okay. So again, the second poem is based on the same lines, but on a different perspective altogether. And I have titled it as Profound Poetry. Profound Poetry. The simple word, in one word, like profound, I divided it into 2 parts. Profound poetry. Okay, that's the title of my poem. So here I go. The very word poetry sounds rhythmic as rhyme. The very word poetry sounds rhythmic as rhyme, as though conchs reciting their iron, as if the pebbles giving tunes to the stream, as in thoughts transforming a poet's dream, as if the pebbles giving tunes to the stream, as in the thoughts transforming a poet's dream. Honestly, in the absence of my mind, I don't know what poetry is all about. Honestly, in the absence of my mind, I don't know what poetry is all about. I'm yet to unfound if any poet can find. I'm yet to unfound if any poet can find. In the presence of mind as well, I doubt. What's that makes me know that this is poetry? What's that makes me know that this is poetry? Those which makes me flow in its symmetry. Those which makes me flow in its symmetry. Is that the spark of a notion that makes its choice? Is that the spark of a notion that makes its choice? The most beauteous mindset where I have this mind voice. In the most beauteous mindset where I have this mind voice. Poetry, wherefore are you, my astound, my fervor, my savior, and my profound? Poetry, wherefore are you, my astound, my fervor, my savior, and my profound? Thank you. This was my profound poetry.
Wow. Yes, Sreekala. So yeah, the whole
these poems were on discussion when we had the book launch in a place in Bangalore. So most of the poem, the different words, what he speaks about what is poetry, and what that is meant to him or any other poet. When he speaks, he does not even speak for himself. A poet always speaks for the society, for the whole society. So even this poem is relatable to most of the poets.
Yes, absolutely. It's like
dedication
as
for
a
MS.
poet, he's speaking our mind and telling exactly what we feel about poetry. So it's lovely to listen to someone else's perspective of what poetry is, and totally resonate with all of what you said, and beautifully expressed as well.
Here I would like to add one thing. Like even before any poet writes something, like we are not aware, like is this poetry or not? Like we don't know. Like we just go ahead and try to write it out, and we shape it out in such a form and say like this is poetry. And before even we could write something, how can we say that that's poetry? That will turn out to be a poetry. So that's what I mean to say you. That's the crux point of this poem.
Yeah,
it's just expressions that turn out into poem.
Poetry, poem.
Yes.
So that's the crux point which I caught in hold, and I delivered as a poem.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you, both of you. So, Sreekala?
Yes, now our sister, Bijayalakshmi Rath. Bijayalakshmi Rath,
yes, ma'am,
done Masters in English from Utkal University, Odisha. Works as faculty English in Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Multilingual poetess. Writes in English and mother tongue Odia. And poems are highly acclaimed and published in different anthologies and e-magazines. Awarded by different international poetic groups, and the greatest recognition ever that she has received is from Motivational Strips, that is being awarded from Gujarat Sahitya Academy on 15th of August 2021, and many other. When a poet writes in different platforms, she receives many awards and accolades, and this one which she has highlighted over is about the Gujarat Sahitya Academy Award, which we all Indians feel it as an honor to have it with us. And she's in admin. She takes care of different international poetic groups as admin and moderator, and she's an admin to Eternal flames. So a busy lady though, and working woman. So we are so happy to have you over here, and would love to listen to you more.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much.
A warm welcome to you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for
My
joining.
pleasure. My
Welcome, ma'am.
pleasure.
This is the first time I'm seeing you all for the first time, and happy to receive all, ma'am. Please go
Everything
ahead.
starts for the first time, sir. We will meet more and more.
Yeah, sure.
So I have to recite a poem, I think so, of mine.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
2 points.
Please.
2 points. Okay.
Yes.
Let me first. So they generally I write on the life philosophy and the empowerment. Definitely as a lady, I will give emphasis to women empowerment. And this is a poem for regarding women empowerment. Life, life, flamboyant life, a mist, flamboyant life, a mist, funnel of desires, funnel of desires. May not Almighty's beloved child, may not Almighty's beloved child, phoenix from ashes arise, phoenix from ashes arise, blood on boil, embellish life with own wings, blood and boil embellish life with own wings, wings of albatross torn caught enemy. Wings of albatross torn God's enemy, encounter with patch of healing, encountered with patch of healing, collided shadows, projection of own self, projection of own self, severed the moonlit sky, severed the moonlit sky, will to love symphony, will to love symphony, celebrated intangible bond, celebrated intangible bond, sacred celestial life, a sacred celestial life, serendipity stands high, serendipity stands high. It is life, a flamboyant life, never a miss. This is my first poem for you all.
That was fabulous. That was fabulous. As flamboyant as fabulous.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
Yes, love that. That was
Very empowering.
from
Thank
the ashes rises a phoenix. So it's quite empowering for all of us, for the listeners, and when we directly listen it from you, simply awesome, empowering, right?
Thank you very much.
Bijayalakshmi ji, can we hear another poem from you?
Oh, definitely. Okay. Then it is also just a reflection of my own life I have tried. Life a miracle. Life a miracle, blessing of God. Life a miracle, blessing of God. A challenge to be challenged. A challenge to be challenged, pens to be beer. A challenge to be challenged, pens to be beer. Beauteous beauty to be glorified with heart and soul. Beauteous beauty to be glorified with heart and soul. With a distinguished pace, I pass further. I hum, so poised, a song of my own. Amalgam of lampposts, amalgam of lampposts, road unknown, with bag and baggage, a risky journey, bold solo traveler. With bag and baggage, risky journey, bold solo traveler, I hum, so poised, the song of my own. Reflections and refractions, reflections and refractions of concave, convex mirrors. manifestation of own. Lives are then taxed forever. Manifestation of own lives are then taxed forever. Every day a definite search. I hum, so poised the song of my own. Symphony of love, life's soothing touch. Symphony of love, life's soothing touch. Meaningless hatred, pinch to soul. Meaningless hatred, pinch to soul. Life's own collection, no option. Life's own collection, no option, all to be treasured. I hum, so poised, a song of my own. Mundanities with sincerity. Mundanities with sincerity, duties with discipline, all for others. Simple eye at the deceptive smile of own mirror. Simple eye at the deceptive smile of own mirror. I hum, so poised, a song of my own. Dark midnight drenched below with tears, a stern decision. A stern decision, I, the most lovable of all, time of mine will never ever return. I have to love my body and soul. I hum so poised the song of my own. Grabbed life's favorite position. Grabbed life's favorite position, pain and people, books, a tight hug. Held the fragrance of sweet rose. I hum, so poised, a song of my own. Ebb and flow of life's oceanic waves. Ebb and flow of life's oceanic waves, passion, emotions, all I gathered. Passion, emotions, all I gathered. Nature, a great connection. Pain started speaking a lot. What minimized to utmost. Pain started speaking a lot. What's minimized to utmost. I hum so poised, a song of my own. With a smile, life does. Loving words of a distance love. With a smile, life tells loving words of a distance love. Life turned a blessing, patted own decision. Life turned a blessing, patted own decision, fulfilled and complete. Heart echoes. Fulfilled and complete heart echoes. I hum. Two boys, a son of my own. Life lived to the fullest by the grace of God. Life lived to the fullest by the grace of God. Up and down pattern, need no more. With just a straight line, with just a straight line in the lap of love, I hum, love, so poised, a song of my own. Thank you.
That was lovely recitation. Lines like, oh, what are she?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, in fact, it was a fabulous poem about the life and strife of its flow. And I like the way she has narrated, also recited. And in fact, I would like to read her scripture, the poem scripture. So that gives me a better understanding of the poem.
Yes.
So, ma'am, whenever you're free, you can send in me your poems. I'll feel free to read and give my retrospect or my feedback to you.
Great honor, sir. Definitely.
Yes, even I would love to read it because there was a little, few places were unclear. Would love to read it once.
Yeah, just because of these audio problems, like we have this
Yeah, it happens. Okay.
And I
But we
think
can
that this you
understand
have
through
not
the-
posted in motivational scripts, right? I didn't see anywhere in motivational scripts before.
Yes.
This poem?
Hmm.
No, I have not posted. A lot of things are there with me.
Keep
yeah,
posting.
it's better
No
to
worries.
keep certain things with us.
These
itself.
are all for meetings also. So not it is today only I have written.
Thank you. So,
Okay.
Edward sir, what about you? What about the opinion? What about your opinion on the poem? You're on mute. You're on mute.
He's on mute.
You're muted. Yes. No, there is something.
Poem reality.
Yes,
Yeah.
Edward, so
Poetry
we
should
can
be-
hear it.
Are you getting me now?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, we
audible
can
I
hear.
now.
said the poems are realistic. You can hear me.
Yes,
Yeah,
we
it's
can.
audible.
Yes. So they are realistic poetry, and it talks about how real life matters. And this is what poetry should be about. Be about everything that affects us, everything about us, our wishes, our lives, our wants, and our environment. Poetry should speak to us about these things. And we should speak about these things through poetry. And for me, it is a beautiful way of expressing um, the reality. And
True,
also,
very
thanks
true.
for the initiative. This is a beautiful initiative. It is very beautiful. I like the idea.
So on that note, we have to thank our Shiju sir and the motivational strips for this platform, for the opportunity
Yeah,
we get to
true.
meet each other. And it's absolutely
Get
a
to know
wonderful
each other.
experience. Yes,
Oh,
That
yeah,
too,
so we
that too
definitely.
from people from like across the world. It's not
across
that
the world.
only Indians. It's not that only people from a particular place. What do you say? Without any differentiation, we are.
No boundaries,
Yeah,
no
bound.
restrictions. So yes.
So thanks,
Thank you, Shiju
thanks,
sir.
wonderful sir, wonderful soul,
Yeah.
Shiju sir, and all other, like we all, as we every time we say that we
we
are all
can.
like a family. So to all other administration members and moderators, everybody, because
Yes,
it's a wonderful place where we feel that oneness.
absolutely.
Yes. So Lakshman sir, thank you for coming over here,
Thanks a lot,
Edward,
ma'am. Thanks for calling me.
and Bijayalakshmi.
Maybe we can
So why
fix
don't we
it to
listen to
It's
your
really,
regular Zoom meetings.
really honored, ma'am. The humble regards to
Yes.
Shiju sir and all the respected admin team of Motivational Stream. Really much, I'm honored and much humble, my humble regards to Shiju sir and all of your admin team, ma'am.
Thank you. The video, he'll be watching it and he'll be so happy to hear you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So may I request Sreekala ji to recite a poem? You are not recited a poem.
No, actually,
Yes,
what
yes,
we do
yes.
is
I
we
would like
won't
to hear
recite.
from
We never used to recite
Sakina.
our poems. We only listen in this show
Okay.
Yes.
because of the time limit.
I have
Not because of we
plenty
don't
of
want to
poems
recite.
on. I have plenty of poems on the forum. So all my
Yeah.
poetry, you just look up Sakina. You'll get lots of videos of me. So yes, please look up.
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for all
Thanks a
of
lot,
you
ma'am,
for
for
joining
calling.
us and our dear
So we are waiting
audience.
to hear from you, Sakina.
Yes, thank you so much, Edward, Bijayalakshmi ji, Laxman ji. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thanks.
everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thanks.
so much.
Yeah.